Most people completely overlook Mississippi when they're choosing a state for their LLC. They jump straight to Wyoming or Delaware or Florida. Meanwhile, Mississippi is sitting there with a $50 filing fee and no annual franchise tax. Yeah, no yearly fee to keep your LLC alive. So today, let's talk about Mississippi. How to start an LLC there in 2026, what it actually costs long-term, and whether this state makes more sense than people realize. Hey, I'm Bobby Casey, founder of BusinessAnywhere. I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs, U.S. founders, expats, digital nomads, and non-U.S. residents form LLCs remotely without dealing with confusing state systems. And I can tell you, some states are just cleaner and simpler than others. Mississippi is one of those. But before we get into the paperwork, let's zoom out for a second. At its core, an LLC, a limited liability company, is about separation. It separates you from your business. If something goes wrong inside the business, debt, lawsuits, disputes, your personal assets are generally protected. That's the whole reason LLCs exist. On top of that, LLCs are flexible from a tax standpoint. By default, a single-member LLC is taxed like a sole proprietorship. A multi-member LLC is taxed like a partnership. And if your profits grow, you can elect S-Corp taxation later. So you get liability protection without corporate complexity. Now, here's where Mississippi gets interesting. The state filing fee is just $50. You file your certificate of formation online with the Mississippi Secretary of State, and that's your upfront cost. But here's the part that surprises people. Mississippi does not charge an annual franchise tax for LLCs. There's no recurring state fee just to exist. Now, that doesn't mean you can ignore compliance. You still have to file an annual report. But there's no fee attached to it. Compared to states charging $100, $200, or even $300 every year, Mississippi is pretty low maintenance. All right, so how do you actually form one? It starts with your name. Your LLC name must be distinguishable from other businesses registered in Mississippi, and it has to include Limited Liability Company, LLC, or LLC at the end. So it can't just be Magnolia Ventures, it needs to be Magnolia Ventures, LLC. Before you settle on a name, search the Mississippi Business Database to confirm availability. If you're not ready to file yet, you can reserve the name for 180 days for a small fee. Moving forward, let's talk about your registered agent. Every Mississippi LLC needs one. Your registered agent must have a physical street address in Mississippi, no P.O. boxes. This is the person or company that receives legal documents and official notices on behalf of your business. If you live in Mississippi, you can technically serve as your own registered agent, but your address becomes public record and you have to be available during normal business hours. That's why many founders use a professional registered agent service. It keeps your information private and ensures you don't miss something important. Once that's squared away, you'll file your certificate of formation. This is the document that officially creates your LLC. Mississippi handles filings online, which makes the process relatively straightforward. You'll provide your business name, registered agent information, principal office address, and management structure. The filing fee is $50. After approval, your LLC is officially active. Now, even though Mississippi doesn't legally require it, you really should create an operating agreement. This document outlines ownership percentages, how decisions are made, how profits are distributed, and what happens if someone exits the business. Even if you're a single-member LLC, it reinforces the separation between you and the company and makes your business look more legitimate to banks and partners. Next up, your EIN. Your employer identification number comes from the IRS, and it's completely free. Think of it as your business's tax ID. You'll need it to open a U.S. business bank account, hire employees, and file federal taxes. If you're a U.S. resident with an SSN, you can apply online and get it quickly. If you're outside the U.S., the process takes a little longer but is still manageable. Now let's circle back to ongoing requirements. Even though Mississippi doesn't charge an annual franchise tax, you still must file an annual report with the Secretary of State. The good news? There's no filing fee. The not so good news? If you forget to file it, your LLC can fall out of good standing or even be administratively dissolved. So while it's free, it's not optional. Depending on what your business does, you may also need to register for state taxes or obtain specific licenses. Mississippi doesn't require a general statewide business license for every LLC, but certain industries definitely require permits. And if you're selling physical products, you'll likely need to register for sales tax with the Mississippi Department of Revenue. Finally, once your LLC is approved, and you have your EIN, open a dedicated business bank account. Do not mix personal and business funds. That's one of the fastest ways to weaken your liability protection. Most banks will ask for your certificate of formation, EIN confirmation letter, operating agreement, and valid ID. If you're operating remotely, you'll also need a legitimate U.S. business address. So just to recap quickly, you choose a unique name, appoint a registered agent with a Mississippi street address, file your certificate of formation and pay the $50 fee, create an operating agreement, get your EIN, register for any required taxes, and file your annual report every year, even though there's no fee. That's the roadmap. Mississippi is simple. Low upfront cost, no annual franchise tax, just basic compliance. Now, you can absolutely handle this yourself, but if you'd rather skip the paperwork and compliance tracking, we can help. At Business Anywhere, we'll form your Mississippi LLC for free. You just pay the $50 state fee, and we include your first year of registered agent service at no extra cost. We'll also help with your EIN and send annual report reminders so nothing slips through the cracks. So I'm curious, is Mississippi on your radar because of the low cost, or are you comparing it with other states? Drop a comment and tell me what you're building, and I'll see you in the next one.